Alright, you guys, so first on our list is paying credit card interest. Now, why do we want to avoid paying credit card interest? Well, because simply put, we want to make sure that we keep as much of our money as possible so then we have that money so then that way we could get rich and build wealth for ourselves. So, how are we going to make sure that we don't pay any credit card interest? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure when we're using our credit card and it gets to the point where our bill is going to be due, that we pay off our credit card statement in full each and every single month, and that's how we're going to avoid paying any interest on our credit card. Alright, you guys, so second on our list is going to be designer brand names of clothing, just designer brand shopping in general. Now, why would you want to cut out or not spend your money on designer brands? Well, it simply comes down to the fact that purchasing designer brands or very popular brands compared to alternatives is that the popular and designer brand names are going to be extremely expensive. Now, if you could go out and you can look and find an alternative brand that still gives you a quality product for significantly less, well then I think that's a better use of your money, because essentially you're going to get the same performance, the same use out of the item that you're going to purchase, but for significantly less than how much it cost you, or if you wanted to go ahead and buy that designer brand name. So avoid buying brand name items as much as possible, because at the end of the day, you want to use your money in the most efficient way possible and keep as much of your money as you can. So avoid buying designer brand name items. Alright, you guys, so next up on our list is going to be buying alcohol. Now, I get it, you might want to kick back, relax, buy yourself a beer or whatever, but let me tell you why this is a bad idea. Because spending your money on alcohol has two negatives to it. So one, it's obviously not going to benefit your health, so that's reason number one. It's only going to hurt you if you consume it. Now, reason number two is because alcohol has a very heavy tax on it. So you as a consumer, you pay that tax. So when you purchase something like alcohol, you could walk into a bar, you're going to pay $10 or more for just one single bottle of beer. Now that's a very heavy price to spend on just buying something that's not going to benefit you or help you in any way whatsoever. It's not going to help you build your wealth. It's not going to help you make more money. And even worse, it's also going to hurt your body and hurt your health overall. So why would you ever want to spend your money on something like drinking alcohol? I would say avoid it at all costs, because it's not going to benefit you in any way. So be sure to cut out your spending on alcohol. Alright, you guys, so next up on our list is shopping at overpriced grocery stores. Now, what do I mean exactly? Well, so when it comes to grocery shopping, I'm sure you have more than one type of grocery store in your town. And if not, I don't know where exactly you live, and honestly, that sucks, because you probably live in the middle of nowhere. But aside from a situation like that, most people have options when it comes to shopping at the grocery store. Now, if this is true and you're not that one person who lives out in the middle of nowhere without options, then you should be able to look at what are your options when it comes to going to the grocery store and going grocery shopping, and say, okay, let me go to the very best grocery store that's going to give me the best products possible for the lowest price. And then that way you don't compromise the products or what you're going to be purchasing, but at the same time you're also not going to be paying a premium by going to just the most expensivest grocery store in town. And if by you doing this means you're never going to be spending your money on just overpriced items just because this place decides hey, we just want to mark the item up and try to make as much money as possible by offering the same item that another store is offering for significantly less. So do your research, find the grocery store in your town that is basically offering the value or the good deals, and you want to go grocery shopping on a regular basis at those grocery stores. So never spend your money on overpriced groceries. Alright, you guys, so next up on our list is going to be a really, really terrible way for you guys to spend your money, and I hope none of you guys that are watching this video spend your money on this area. And if you are, you absolutely must cut it out, because it's a terrible way for you to spend your money. So what exactly am I talking about? I'm talking about spending your money on something like lottery tickets, and I'm talking about spending your money on gambling. Now, I don't think it's going to take me to talk about this subject very much to explain why this is terrible, because I would hope that it would be a no-brainer to you guys. But in case there's anybody that doesn't realize why this is terrible, so when you spend your money on something like lottery tickets or gambling, it's truly a lose-lose situation. So you're going to go ahead and gamble your money, put your money on the line for the hopes of gaining something, and basically every single time it's a lose-lose situation. You put your money out, you lose the game on whatever it is, slot machine, online betting, whatever it is, sports betting, whatever the situation is. You bet that money, you lose that money, you didn't get anything in return, and you cost yourself, the opportunity cost of like taking that money and investing it in a way that would grow your wealth for you. So that's a lose-lose situation. The same is true when you purchase lottery tickets. You buy a lottery ticket, you scratch it off, or however it works. You ultimately put out your money. You got essentially nothing. You got some piece of paper, you scratched it, you didn't get anything, you lost your money, and you lost even more because of the opportunity cost that you could have had took that money and instead invested it into something that was going to grow wealth for you. So it's just like a terrible scenario. It's like a terrible way, to spend your money. It's just a complete waste of money, and it's like a very hidden cost. Like the opportunity cost is very hidden within spending your money on something like purchasing lottery tickets or gambling. Just avoid it at all costs. It even irritates me even talking about the subject. So just do me a favor. Do not spend your money on something like lottery tickets or gambling. All right, you guys. So look, next up on our list is going to be smoking or tobacco type products. Now, this subject right here is very similar like the alcohol type subject, because essentially you're going to get the same outcome. Smoking and using tobacco type products is going to both hurt your health from like, a health perspective, and even worse, you're going to go out and you're going to purchase this product to then cause yourself to have these health problems. So why would you ever want to spend your hard-earned money to ultimately just hurt yourself? Like, you wouldn't want to do that, and like logically that makes no sense. So just avoid spending your money on smoking or tobacco type products whatsoever. And if that wasn't bad enough, the opportunity cost that you could be using that very same money that you're now using on smoking or tobacco type products, you could be using that money to invest and grow and build your wealth. So it's just like a complete terrible way to spend your money. So just avoid it at all costs, and do me a huge favor, never spend your money on smoking or tobacco type products. So next up on our list is going to be spending your money on buying lunch every single day. Now, why would I say that you should never spend your money on buying lunch every single day? Because obviously, yes, you are at work and you need to eat. Yes, I totally get that. But does that mean that you need to spend your money on buying lunch every single day by going out to eat? This is a terrible idea. You should never be spending your money on buying lunch every single day. What you should do as a better option is, while you are at the grocery store shopping for the week, be sure to plan out what you want to eat for lunch, and that way it will be significantly cheaper for you to go ahead, buy those items at the grocery store, prepare your lunch at home, take it with you, and you will notice the cost is significantly less compared to if you go out and while you're at work you're like, okay, it's my lunchtime, let me go ahead to wherever and go purchase some food. Because the odds are, if you go out and you purchase lunch out and about somewhere, you're going to spend an average of like $15 to $20 every single day when you go out and have lunch. And that's assuming you didn't go and get like breakfast or any other type of thing like after work or anything like that. But just simply buying lunch every single day, you're probably looking at like $15 a day on the minimum if you just get yourself some basic meal with a drink. Now, if you do this 5 days a week, assuming you work 5 days a week, so you're looking at 5 days of doing this, so you're like $75 a week for just one person buying lunch every single day. So this is a very expensive like habit and a way of going about doing things. And although you're not wasting your money on buying something bad, and it's not like, oh, you're making like a bad decision in that sense, but it's a very expensive way to go about executing buying your lunch. So instead of going out there and buying food the expensive way for you to have lunch, make the smarter financial decision, buy your lunch, and you could create that very same similar type lunch at home from buying the food at the grocery store, preparing it yourself, and then that way you maybe even come away with more food because you prepared it versus as the restaurant or something giving you a smaller portion and costing you a lot more for it. So be smart, go to the grocery store, buy that food yourself, prepare it at home, and take your lunch with you. All right, you guys. So next up on our list is buying an overpriced home. So why would I say to never buy an overpriced home? Not simply just because like, hey, you don't want to like pay more for the home than it's worth. That's bad enough. But there's a little more to it. So what exactly am I talking about? So when you purchase an overpriced home, or in other words, a home that you basically can't afford, this is what happens. So you move into that home because you're like, whatever, your family's like, hey, I love this home, and you want to get this home for your family because you want to make your family happy. Well, the problem happens when you move in and you have to start making that monthly mortgage payment. So what happens is essentially you become what's called house rich, cash poor. Now you move in, sure, your family loves the house, you're like, oh, it's great, it's a great home, and it's in a nice area, everyone's so happy. But the problem is that that house is so expensive to you because basically, in order just for you to make that mortgage payment, it takes up majority of your income. So it eats up the bulk of your income. And because it eats up the bulk of your income, it leaves you with very little of your income left. So this is why it's called house rich, cash poor, because essentially you're left with very little cash. What ultimately ends up coming as a result of this is you feel the stress because you have so many other things that you need to spend money on, and you don't have very much money left. And even worse, now you just, not only do you only have a little bit of income left to spend on the other things that you need to, but even worse, you don't have money to spend income on things that you want to do. So essentially you're very, very restricted, and this all comes back to, and that leads to like you being very stressed because you're like, okay, so I gotta pay the payment, and then it's like, oh, I gotta pay these other things, and then like, oh, I want to do these other things, or my family wants to do these other things, and I can't because I don't have the money to do it. So you do not want to put yourself in a situation where you are house rich, cash poor. It's very stressful, and it basically will cause you to like resent the entire situation that you're in and that you ever purchased that overpriced home to begin with. So just avoid buying an overpriced home so you prevent that situation from ever coming about. Alright, you guys, so next up on our list is going to be buying a new car. So you should never spend your money on buying a new car. Now, why would I tell you that you should never spend your money on buying a new car? So it comes down to this. So basically, when you are not already rich and wealthy, spending your money on something like a new car, it's detrimental to your financial life. And this is why. Because one, new cars are expensive. They cost, on average, at least like $500 plus each and every single month for your car payment. Then you're talking about another $150 to like $200 a month for insurance. And then assuming you have like a gas car, you're talking about another few $100s a month on gas. So when you factor all that in, you're talking about roughly like $1,000 a month each and every single month on just like your total expenses associated with the car. Now, what makes this even worse is like that vehicle that you purchase, whatever, like let's just say hypothetically like you purchased like a $60,000 car. Well, the second you drove that car off the lot, like the car immediately goes down in value, and it continues to go down in value each and every single year. So this is like a terrible, terrible way for you to go ahead and spend your money on something like this when it's like you're putting your money out, investing your money into something and just watching it continually day by day become worth less and less. So, and the only thing that car, like the only real purpose that vehicle serves you is getting you from wherever you are to wherever you want to go. So like say for example, you're at home, you need to get to work, and then you use the car to get to work, and then you use the car to get back home. So it's like, why would you ever want to spend as much as possible just to have like a nice vehicle to get you from here to there and then back, and pay a very heavy premium for that? And even worse, now that you've paid the premium for it, it just becomes worth less and less and less over time. So it's a very expensive, terrible waste of money to purchase a new car. So avoid spending your money on a new car at all costs. Alright, you guys, so look, I want to see how many of you guys are still watching at this point in the video, and I hope you are, because that tells me you are very excited about finding out exactly the 10 things that you should never be spending your money on. So we're coming up to number 10, and if you are still watching at this point in the video, thank you so much. I hope you give this video a like, and also if you're new to this channel and you have not already subscribed, be sure to find that red subscribe button on the bottom right side of your screen. Give that red subscribe button a quick tap for me. That way YouTube will notify you each and every time I upload a video. So now that you've made it to this point in the video, head down to the comment section below and comment the number 10. You could put it in, the numerical form. You could, or just type it out. Doesn't matter. Just put the number 10. So that lets me know that you made it all the way to the 10th thing that you should never be spending your money on. So here we are at number 10, and the 10th thing that you should never be spending your money on is timeshares, because timeshares are terrible. They're just a big, huge financial scam. They basically are just like trying to sell you this idea of like, hey, you could like have the availability to be able to come and stay here at these select times, and all you got to do is just basically pay us this continual ongoing fee for that option to be able to stay here. And they like really push this idea and make it seem like it's just so great, and that, oh, look where you're going to be able to stay, look at all the benefits, and it's like, it's a scam. It's very, very similar to like them selling like you a gym membership to someone where like they don't really care if you go to the gym or not, and they know that most people are not going to go. Very similar like type like sales pitch when it comes to the timeshares, because they know you're not going to really go stay there, but and you're not going to like use all the benefits or whatever that come with it, and it's not even going to be like as great as they're making it out to be, and they know that you're probably not even going to be able to go there and stay at that place that they're like pushing on you so hard. They just want, they don't care if you use it, they don't care if it really benefits you. They're just selling you this idea of like the perfect scenario, and the chances are, even if you had the opportunity to go and stay at that place where they're selling you the timeshares, once you've stood there a few times, you're not even going to want to continue to keep going to that place. You're going to want to go and stay at other places and have other experiences. So signing up and like committing yourself to this particular timeshare where you're like isolated to staying at this place and just paying ongoing for this, and they make it very difficult for you to get out of this little like contract or agreement that you make with them, is just like one big scam. So do not fall in love with these, you know, these timeshares and them like trapping you into these type of situations. Do not fall for it whatsoever. It's a terrible way for you to spend your money. If you want to stay somewhere, just save up the money, pay for it, go stay there, have that experience, and never ever like agree to sign up or get involved with any timeshare whatsoever. It's a very terrible way for you to spend your money. Alright you guys, so another video is going to pop up here on the screen, and if you click that video, YouTube is going to show you the very best video for you from my channel. So be sure to click that video, and I will catch you guys in that next video.